Hi, everyone. Please feel free to say hello in the chat again. Thank you so much for joining us for our final guest today. Our final guest is a very special individual who is actually from my home of New York. Winnie is the Director of Perioperative Services at Plainview Hospital. She is also the fearless Commander-in-Chief of the now world-famous Northwell Nurse Choir. The true definition of a leader, Winnie has been in the medical field for 41 years and counting, and is the shoulder that any and all can feel comfortable to lean on and seek advice from. Winnie treasures her hugely extended family and juggles her role as a caregiver both in the hospital and at home. A conversation with Winnie will leave one feeling inspired and empowered, and today we have the humble honor of speaking with her ourselves. Before I begin our chat with Winnie, I would like to share a little bit about the Northwell Choir for those who aren't familiar. While seeking an outlet from the battle against COVID-19, the Northwell Nurse Choir was formed by 2020 by Northwell Health as a group of talented frontline nurses gathered virtually in song for their first appearance with Nurse Heroes Live. Since this group's origination, these nurses who hail from all different specialties across Northwell's numerous facilities have successfully managed to make a name not only for themselves, but for frontline workers alike, positively impacting the lives of all who their music reaches in a time when the world needed it most. Most notably, the choir advanced as top 10 finalists to the season 16 finale of America's Got Talent in September of 2021, after receiving the coveted Golden Buzzer from show judge Howie Mandel. The group has since graced world-renowned stages, including the White House, Madison Square Garden, Carnegie Hall, Fenway Park, and Broadway, with appearances ranging from Time Person of the Year awards, The Today Show, Live with Kelly and Ryan, The Kelly Clarkson Show, Press Ganey, and multiple professional sporting events, just to name a few. With their unique and shared experiences of the pandemic combined with the group's success, the choir is humbled to continue utilizing their platform to represent the front line through their unbreakable bond and newfound sense of family, all while simultaneously maintaining their work at the bedside. Winnie, I feel like I'm speaking to a celebrity at this very moment. I know that my colleagues and friends and family have found so much joy in watching your choir grow throughout this pandemic, and it's so special to have you here with us today. It seems like you've been a nurse for such a long time. I would love to hear about how your nursing career began.
Certainly. Well, first of all, I'm over the moon excited to be here because this whole choir thing is such a crazy story. And, I've been a nurse since 1979. I started out, I did a short stint in mother baby, found my love in critical care, uh, really fell in love with leadership. And I did a lot of studying and work on leadership. And so I'm now an ICU nurse running a perioperative department. I didn't know anything about the operating room, but I was put here for my leadership skills. And I was able to take this department from 17 percentile of employee engagement to the 99th percentile, because my role as a leader is to take care of my people. And I think that that's what was lacking. And I'm very proud of the work that we've done here. And the nurses here have now been empowered to make this a great place. It is their place of work, right? I don't work here; their work doing the work. So that's where I live now in the world of perioperative services. I have five different departments, and I really do love what I do. And I feel that my ministry is helping build new leaders, and also, like I said, taking care of my people so that everyone gets out of the car and bringing their best self to work. Because I want everybody arriving not as the guest of honor, right? The patient is the guest of honor. So we've done a lot of great work here, and I'm really proud of Plainview Hospital and where I work.
That's amazing. It really is so special. And I find this whole story so amazing too, because Northwell, for those who don't know, is such a huge organization. There are several hospitals. And the fact that are able to form this togetherness in such a big network is really so special.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell us a little bit about your experience working as a nurse throughout the COVID-19 pandemic?
I certainly can. So Northwell has 23 hospitals. I'm in a community hospital in the outskirts of New York City. Um, I our operating rooms were shut down on St. Patrick's Day. And little by little, we realized that we needed to get out and help the rest of the hospital. Remember, operating room nurses' skill set is a certain skill set, and really, we needed critical care nurses. So we deployed a lot of our staff out to the floors, and they became functional nurses to help. And then all of the critical care nurses from the recovery areas, interventional radiology, and all those other departments, endoscopy, we opened up intensive care units in our entire division. Um, as a leader, it was difficult because we had so much unknown in the beginning, and everyone looks to the leader to feel safe. So that was a bit of a challenge because I didn't really feel safe, but that is my job. We always had PPE, which was a blessing because of the size of our, what do you call it? Northwell is so enormous that we never had that challenge. Our challenge was having enough space for the people that were coming through into the emergency room. And just like you saw on television, we had the refrigerator trucks outside because our morgue couldn't handle it. The nurses were traumatized. I would say definitely every morning we had a huddle. We said a prayer. And I think people that didn't have the gift of faith developed a gift of faith because we were frightened, and
Yeah.
we sent the functional operating room nurses upstairs to the floors. We took them up personally. They went in pairs because nurses always like to do things with a buddy. And we certainly weren't looking to send them somewhere where they were uncomfortable because they were uncomfortable to begin with. So when you have a buddy, it's better. And then we opened up ICUs down here. We did all of our communicating with our dying patients through with their families through iPads. Many families asked us to please not to open the iPad so they could be with their loved ones while they were passing away. So if you could think about, I mean, I cry when I think about what we did. It's so
Yeah.
emotional because we didn't want anybody to think that their family was alone, because that's, to me, if that was my parent or my sibling, for them to die alone was, it just can't be. And so that's what we did. We became the families, and we had iPads. We used our own personal phones. I mean, we used anything we could to communicate. And so we would sometimes put a nursing assistant just to hold the iPad so that the family could be there while their family was passing away. Just the supplies and the central lines and the vents and trying to find enough electricity. Like, it was almost like a bad movie. And I am a woman of faith, so I did put my hands in my life in God's hands, and I felt that this is the ministry that I've been doing for 43 years, and if this is where I'm meant to be, this is where I'm meant to be. And we have nurses that have still not found their resilience. They can't do it anymore, and that's heartbreaking to me. But most of the nurses have hung in there. Um, and I lived during the AIDS crisis, and that was extremely sad. And I made so many
Yeah.
friends with my patients. I worked in Queens, which was closer to Manhattan at the time. But this was, that was over a period of years. This was over a period of weeks. And it's something that I will never forget. I think that nurses across the globe, a lot of us have this camaraderie because we saw this was something I'd never seen in all the time I was nursing. Um, I'm proud, and I pray for the people who developed the medications that are helping us get out of this, because they really deserve the Nobel Peace Prize in my mind,
Mhm.
because there was nothing better. I mean, I could not wait to get vaccinated because of all the horrific things. And every one of us were online just knocking down the door to get vaccinated because of what we lived through. So that's, but we did come out of it. And that was the beauty of the choir, I think, was that as we were coming out, we were building the choir at the same time. And so that when we finally hit America's Got Talent, America, nurses, everyone was ready for something, some kind of joy, something to grab
Yeah.
onto, you
Yeah,
know?
we definitely were, and thank you so much for sharing that. I'm getting emotional just hearing you talk about it because you
Yeah.
really brought us back to that point in time. And I know I still see like refrigerator trucks at grocery stores, and I think to myself, "Oh my gosh, why do these people have this out in the open? And then I remind myself that they're also used for produce and for other regular things. And,
Yeah.
as nurses, we were put through that deployment. And it's interesting that we still use that word deployment because it really was like a war zone for everyone.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to train some of the perioperative nurses at my hospital to work on the COVID units. And I remember thinking, like, how brave these nurses are to come into a totally different realm than they're used to working in and really taking on that responsibility. So I really praise your team for being able to do that and having the bravery to do that and speak about
Yeah.
it.
And I
Um,
think that, building a team and having good camaraderie, that when there is a crisis, people do come together and we do help each other. And that's the beauty of good leadership,
yeah.
right?
And
Yeah.
it sounds like you guys really have that togetherness and that connection, which is so amazing.
Yeah,
So
it
when
is.
did you join the Northwell Choir?
So there's 18,000, a little over 18,000 nurses in Northwell, and we all got an email asking if we'd like to join a choir. And if you did, you had to make a 30-second audition video on your phone, no music, just singing into the phone, quite awkward, I will tell you, and send it in. And a couple of hundred nurses sent it in, and they chose 50, and we did a virtual concert for nurses.org. And then America's Got Talent, I guess, was trolling um, social media, and they invited us, but they said we can't take 50, we could take 18. So they went back to the drawing board, and for some reason, I was chosen as one of the 18, which is so crazy. But yeah, so that's how it started. And we did all of our practicing at home on the phone. So they would send us our parts in Dropbox. I'm actually a tenor. I can also sing baritone. I can sing very low as a woman. So maybe that's why I made it. But I would practice in the laundry room, on the treadmill. And then when we finally got together, we didn't waste a lot of time. We were able to use that time because remember, we were working at the time. So that was just about the spring of 21. And the next thing you know, we were out in California, and I think we really went with the attitude like, "Wow, this is so awesome! We're going to Hollywood. We're going to sing a song, and then we're going to come back." And it just kept rolling, and we kept winning. And I think we made a tremendous mark out there because everybody we met in America's Got Talent wanted to know about the pandemic. They wanted to know about nurses. Was the stuff that we saw on the television, was it real? Is that really what happened? And as a group, we never really spoke about COVID. So when we were out there and they were recording these sessions, we would cry. And then the guy doing the camera would cry. And then we'd have to stop recording because everybody would be crying because it was so raw and so real. And we made a
Yeah.
lot of friends out there. And the voting, I think just people in America, whether you were a nurse or a respiratory therapist or a grocery clerk, it didn't matter. People just were happy. It was just something, I was down the Jersey Shore, and a woman stopped me in the supermarket crying, telling me that her and her husband every Tuesday watched the nurse choir. So it was a
Oh my
lot more
gosh.
global, I think, than we realized, but it really
Yeah.
did bring a lot of people joy. People wanted to tell us their story of where they were when they watched it, which is pretty cool.
It really is amazing. It's so
Yeah.
amazing to see what grew, and like you said, the global footprint that this choir has had on everybody and how much joy it really brought to everybody. For you personally, how has your experience with the choir helped you through what has been such a difficult time and still a difficult time throughout the world?
Well, I'm a lover of music, and anybody who loves music knows that whether you get in the car or you're ready to make short ribs, whatever you're doing, and you put that music on, it's just, I don't know, for me, it just fills me. It fills my cup. And then to have the ability to sing, which I love to sing. I mean, I grew up in a big Irish family, and all we did was sing. We sang around the piano, every party we had, right? I never had any formal training. But to have an opportunity, first of all, to join with other nurses, to me that was so great. Like, what a great idea, a nurses choir. Then when I heard it the first day we got together, it's 5-part harmony, I started crying. I said to the guy who was helping us learn, I said, this is the most beautiful sound that I've heard in so long, because music to me it's magical. And so I think, hold on, I have to just shut this off. So I think that, music itself, the choir, the traveling, I mean, I went from the hospital home for weeks on end, working 7 days a week, sometimes working nights, Easter Sunday, like leaving my family. My husband has cancer from 9/11. I take
Oh.
care of him. My nephew has Huntington's disease, like all these things I had at home. But yet I got to get on a plane, go out to California, take off my mask and sing. I mean, it was a miracle. It was a blessing, and I am so grateful to God for the ministry that I have, that I was chosen. That's how I filled my cup. This choir for me, still we still travel. We do a lot of healthcare conferences, and to be able to sing, we did Magnet. We sang to 6,000
Oh,
nurses.
wow, that's
Magnet was
amazing.
crying. We were crying.
Oh,
It was so emotional because we're all working the same walk. It doesn't matter where you live or where you work. We all have the same ministry. So now all the Magnet nurses are crying. The choir's crying. It's just I don't know how to say except that it fills my cup, so that I could come back and do this work.
that's really
You know?
amazing. And it's filled
Yeah.
so many others' cups as well. I know that I personally do not have any musical talent. I have always said that my talent lies in my listening ears, and I stick by that. And I have very much enjoyed listening to you all. As you mentioned earlier, so many nurses are leaving the profession just from burnout and just from, like you said, not being able to do it anymore. I think recently Forbes magazine announced they predicted that hundreds of thousands will leave the profession by the end of 2022, which is really quickly approaching and very, very scary. If you had any advice to early career nurses with regard to preventing burnout and promoting wellness in a sense, what would that be?
Well, I think you just have to remember too, this is the end of the baby boomers. So a lot of those nurses are all going out at once, right? So we have lost some nurses from resilience. What we do here at Plainview in perioperative services, we have a profound respect for work-life balance. I try to tell the nurses that this is your career. It's a big, important part of your life, but it's not your life. Your life is your life, right? Don't come here looking for joy. Find your joy at home and bring your joy to work, right? So we work very, very diligently with our schedules. If somebody's daughter has an Irish step dancing, or I got to go hear my kids record a concert, whatever it is, we really make an effort to try to help you get there where you need to be, because that is your life, right? And if we have this profound respect for work life balance, it's our job as leaders to try to get that out to our people, to let them know. I know that people might think this isn't important, but we know it's important to you, and we're going to do everything we can to help you. And so the leadership team jumps in. If we're short, it's really all hands on deck. And when you help your nurses and your staff be able to fill their cup, right? Not only do they do a better job uh, arriving at work with joy, but they do a better job with the patients because they are in a good space. So my suggestion is do whatever you can to try to help them find that respect for their work-life balance, and let them know that this is not their life. It's a big, important part of their life because it's their career, but it's not their life. And that's how I would say that's the best thing that we can do for our people here at work.
That's amazing. I know in your bio, as I mentioned earlier, it said that a conversation with you would leave one feeling inspired and empowered. And I definitely can say that my cup is overflowing today. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for taking the time to share your passions of nursing and music with us today. I first stepped foot in a Northwell facility actually as a nursing student many years ago. So this was so special to have the opportunity to meet you. And your choir and work has just brought so much joy to others, and we really appreciate you sharing with that with us today. While we can't share the choir with each of you in person today, I do highly encourage each of you to check them out on YouTube and social media. It's just so incredible to think that all of this came about during such challenging and trying times. So thank you so much, Winnie.
You're very well. Thank you so much. And God bless everybody in your nursing ministry. Hang in there. There is hope and goodness at the end. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Winnie and to our other incredible speakers today, Zoe and Sue. We also thank the Nursing Now Challenge for growing this beautiful haven and network that we all have the privilege of sharing. There is quite a lot blooming throughout this network, and if you have yet to join the Nursing Now Challenge, I highly recommend that you do so. It's really amazing to see what grows when you water yourself with wellness. Thank you all so much for joining and have a beautiful day.